Look at this absolute specimen and tell me, what is the first thing that pops into your mind? No, not me. Okay, start over. Who would you rather run into in a forest? This man or like a molester with no upper body strength? I don't know, man. I feel like I just...
Let it out, bro.
I just feel like I should stop making videos at this point. Like, what am I doing here? Hello, and welcome back to Binging Last Season, where this week we were lied to, pleasantly surprised, and then reminded once again that watching anime is akin to being disappointed all of the time. And we're gonna start with the liars here, because if you look at this promotional material and you read the synopsis about a man who is just cursed with being ugly and gets a second chance at life and decides to become even uglier, to max out his stat points, to become literally a god, you assume you're getting a standard power fantasy, and that's a natural assumption to make. I wouldn't blame you for making that assumption, and if you made that assumption going into the show, you'd probably be as butt mad as the people leaving negative reviews on it. He got superpowers and he's still a simp? Unbelievable, I can't even masturbate to this. Okay, but what's actually going on here? Well, Uglymug ends up in this other world of fantasy and magic that a lot of Japanese people go to when their real lives don't work out, and he shows up with 3 other people and promptly decides to leave them behind at his earliest convenience because he's not here to make friends, he's here to make up for the life he had that was ruined by a woman that accused him of being a molester on a train. But once he realizes the tragic circumstances behind one of his more sheltered companions, he decides that it's his role as the almighty god to ensure that she has a fulfilling second chance at life. And that was the big switch up that everybody hated, except for me, because I'm not a giant baby. This show isn't about a big fat ugly guy that goes around beating the crap out of everybody because he is literally God. It could have been that, but it decided to be something a little bit more interesting in my opinion, if still a bit less entertaining. I don't think anyone would be surprised that Uglymug ends up sticking with his initial party. I mean, they're in the promotional art. It's not even worth adding a spoiler warning. But I do think the role he assumes in the party is interesting, and it did surprise me. I didn't expect him to become this sort of shepherd for wildly incompetent allies, which appear to be pretty frustrating initially, but I think they lend themselves to what the story is actually trying to say. Because yes, the companions are all pretty stupid, and come to think of it, so are the bad guys, and so is literally anybody else that comes from Japan. And that makes sense, because they are all failures. They're all people who gave up on their life in the real world to escape to this fantasy because they screwed up and they can't put the pieces back together. And Uglymug is one of the few people that had good sensibilities in the real world but just got completely screwed. And even then, his special notes reveal a really just childish perspective. Somebody who's just lashing out at the world and the position that it put them in, who's just angry. Every single person in this show that comes from Japan is extremely immature, and they act that way. And in that sense, I think the show is saying something pretty neat, but again, it's not as entertaining as if we got ugly man punch stuff and it explodes. Like, yeah, of course you want that, dude. And it really doesn't help that when the showrunners needed to deliver the most, they fumbled. Because yeah, I've been making fun of people who didn't like this show, but it's for the dumb reasons. Oh, he's a simp. He literally made it so that if he gets laid, he will die. How is that a simp? It makes no sense. But more importantly, the mid-season finale was actually pretty cool. I thought, like, everything up to the end, I thought they were delivering on what was expected, but the season finale was rough. The animation was really mid, and that was the moment that we expected to get, you know, the delivery of the ugly god really showing off what he was capable of, and it didn't look good at all. So I wouldn't blame somebody for being really disappointed by the end of this. But everything before that, I mean, the colorful art style, the comedy bits, the secret motivations, the unbelievable cringe, it's all a pretty good time. It's just a shame that they couldn't deliver when it mattered the most. Which is why I can't give this any more than a 7 out of 10, but it's a 7 out of 10 that I pretty strongly recommend, especially if you've already watched this video. You'll be less disappointed when they don't deliver on the things that you're expecting, but you'll be more enticed into the stuff that I mentioned because I'm fucking smart. Praise me. Guys, I can't get over the audacity of this vending machine. That's a sentence I would never expect to say or to hear, but we're in this timeline, so. Vending Machine Isekai came back with a season 2, doing shit it had absolutely no business doing and telling a story it had absolutely no business telling. If I expected anything from a follow-up season of Vending Machine Isekai, it was probably vending machine related. I assure you though, it had nothing to do with a war arc and dramatic story turns and plot twists that came out of absolutely nowhere, and the format of the season worked really well to introduce you to different stratums and the people that lived there, to spend time with specific characters from the main cast and give them all a moment in the spotlight. I mean, as far as, the specifics on this go, this has everything that you would expect from a well-planned season of anime. And then you remember, it's about the fucking vending machine. So many mid-card isekai end up in a second season where they really don't know what direction that they're going in, and they end up fumbling it. You can almost tell that they didn't expect to get a follow-up season, and yet Vending Machine Isekai feels so well put together. Of all of the anime to be well planned and to have really good ideas present, it's the vending machine one. But that doesn't matter to me. The only thing that matters to me is the fact that they brought back Bradio to do the intro again. And you know what? If you're gonna keep doing that, make as many seasons as you want, baby. I will fund it personally. I will buy a vending machine as long as you keep hiring Bradio to do what they do. And yeah, the intro isn't quite as good as season 1, but it's still Bradio, and that is all that matters. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It seems like that's a relatively unpopular opinion, but I feel like they pivoted into the next story arc really well. I feel like everything in season 2 worked, and I feel like the vending machine bit is still interesting until it stops being interesting or they stop hiring Bradio to do the intros. I'm gonna keep watching Vending Machine Isekai. The Water Magician, on the other hand, is a good example of why foreshadowing matters when it comes to your story, and if that wasn't a giveaway, I am going to spoil the final scenario in the ending episode, so you have been warned. It started out strong with really great fantasy vibes. Our main character gets isekai'd into this forest where he has to learn water magic and survive on his own with these creatures all around. He has to hunt for himself. He has these magical encounters with a Doulahan near a lake. He sets out on a journey to help our red-haired co-protagonist get back to civilization, and they develop this bond. It feels like they're bros. It's just two bros walking around in a forest 5 feet apart, so it's not gay. Some other stuff happens, and by the time we get to the last episode, the plot gets completely spaghettified. Our Waterman Blue faces off against somebody who is almost as strong as he is and becomes completely sociopathic. Despite the fact that Red is trying to stop him, there's nothing he can do, and there was nothing indicating to us that this scenario could possibly happen. The circumstances aren't even that intense. Not enough for him to lose his cool the way that he does and just toss away the bro vibes that he had with Red Hair from earlier in this season. It's almost like the show is saying, well, if you're strong enough, at some point, you'll start to act like a complete and total lunatic. But they didn't tease that at any other point in this season. They didn't foreshadow that in the story, so it feels like it comes out of nowhere. I gave The Water Magician an 8 out of 10, but if not for that ending, I probably would have given it a 9, because this is one of the good ones. This is one of those fantasy isekai that you point at and you say, hey guys, not everything is vending machines and fan service. Check out The Water Magician. And yet, at the very ending, they just wanted to pull some sort of dramatic twist to leave you on your toes, but it just left me feeling confused. That's all I got for you this week. Like, comment, and subscribe, because I said some naughty words in this video, so I'm probably going to get plowed by the algorithm. I'm not exactly sure what the video is going to be next week. All I know is that my other videos for the month of October are probably going to be spooky, so you can look forward to that. I'll see you guys then.